record. Yep, now it's working. I think. It says you are screen sharing. And yeah, pause recording. So I'm assuming it's recording now.
Yes, yes it is.
So the first thing we do is we go to ITK Snap, start it up. And then we go to our Finder and we find our NII files that we have downloaded from the website. And let me put that off to the side. I keep mine here. And I downloaded 68. I often download the DICOMs as well as the NII so I can look at it in Osiris if it ever comes to that. And then the 68 NII files you have pre and post, and everybody's there. So we've got a full study. So I go to the pre, and there was, for whatever reason, there's a 0 and a 0A and a 1 and a 1A, I think. So I looked, I'm going to use the zeros and 1 and 2, not the A. The A actually has leads in it for some reason. So you copy this into, just make sure everything's good. It looks good. You can, go up and down the slices. It looks like a really nice case in that there's no leads, right? In the pre, I don't know what that is. What's that? I don't know what that thing is, but I don't think it's a lead. Maybe it's just a lesion, a big lesion. Up and down. Okay, so everything looks good. So now go back to the Finder and then get info on that file and copy the path to that file, right? Because we're now going to go to MATLAB and run this program, which is called ITK Thresh script _NII, and that was provided to us by, I think, Gabby and Ashish. So I just add the path that I just copied. So I'm gonna add that users McVeigh temp 1 68 NII pre. There. So now that path is added. That will be the active path for the rest of this. We'll start with the 0th file and it's going to load it in. Okay, so we just run it. And it should, I don't know why it's not. Oh, there we go. And now inside this field of view, we're going to select a region of interest that has both myocardium and blood, and try and miss stuff like leads and whatnot that would cause something strange with so there it says with a threshold of 170 we get this segmentation, and it used Otsu's method, which is like the 2 histograms and you cut it or whatever. So it's 170. So I always go back here and I annotate in my MATLAB file, just so I remember what I did, that it's 170. Okay, and I'll save that. So these are all the cases that I've done over the last little while with all of their thresholds, right? 170 is pretty low. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's kind of low. So let's go back to ITK Snap, right? And then there, we're going to go use this to go into the segmentation. And we'll go segment 3D. And we'll use the 170 for our lower threshold. And actually,
just for me to make a small trial. So can you see which are the values that you have in the ventricle?
Oh, yes.
So I see they are like around 400 in my case.
I can show you.
Yeah, it's 381 is what you have, right?
Is the mean in your ventricle? So which case are you looking at?
71.
71, okay. So do you have this MATLAB file?
No, no,
Oh.
I don't have that.
Do you have MATLAB on your computer?
Yes, but yeah, I will do it later. It's just, yeah, I will just set something similar. I was just wondering what you had. Yeah, I think 170 could kind of do for my case.
It's a 170.
The myocardium is around 140 and things like that, and this is 300 something. That is like your case, like what you would do.
Well, one way to do it is to go to Osirix
Mhm.
and read in the DICOM image and then do a histogram and take a look at it.
Yeah,
The myocardium in the blood. That's another way of doing it.
Okay.
So, however, we always use this Otsu method, MATLAB, so that we can say in the paper we use the same method.
Of course, yeah. If you send me the .m, I will use that.
And then I set it to this. I do lower threshold only. Smoothness is 10.
Can you wait 1 second? Sorry. So
Yeah.
when I'm in the, I don't know, I go to the snake.
Yeah.
Pop out on the left, right?
Yeah. And then you go segment 3D. It's a button down here somewhere.
Okay. Now I'm there. Okay, perfect. And now you set the threshold. Okay.
Yeah. And then we can type in your threshold here, but you hit more and it brings a more, busier slide here. And you can do different types of classification, clustering, edge attraction, all this. But I never set any of those. I just leave them the way they are. And I set the lower threshold to what Otsu tells me. And then the smoothness to 10. And then close.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's all set and ready to go. So we can say next down here.
Mm-hmm.
Click. And now this is where you put the bubbles in. So the bubbles, what I do is I use my cursor and I center up on each frame and each. So now we're kind of in the center of the blood pool.
Yes.
Add a cursor. It doesn't really matter that you fill it with little bubbles or anything. It will grow into the right place. It's pretty good at stopping growing where it's supposed to on the myocardium. So you can just leave it like this, or if you're, you could put another bubble over here. It doesn't really matter. And so then we say next. Oh, first of all, stupid menu. Down here, if you want to update the 3D, okay. It's not ready yet. Okay, so let's say next.
Mm-hmm.
And now it gives you step size, tells you how many steps it's done, and it will just, segment until you're happy and finished with it. So if we press this button, we can go in step size of unit 1, right? But if you go down here and say 25, it's probably smarter, 25, and then it grows.
Okay.
I usually hit update down here, and this is the volume that we're looking at. And you can say continuous update, and it will change as we update it. And you can change the view. So you can see it's sort of the 2 balls and they're growing. And then you just update it.
Yeah, I see that when I put a step size that is big, yeah, it just kind of increments with that number.
Yes. So I'm just doing 25. And you can look at the ventricle and see if it's still changing or not.
Okay. I have to update. Yes, I see.
Yeah, and then you have to hit continuous update. And then to zoom in here, I think it's control.
Oops.
Mouse, and you can zoom in. So you hold the control down and then use the mouse. Maybe if you have a real mouse, it's probably right mouse or something like that.
Yeah, right mouse works.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So now we see we're doing pretty well, right? We've sort of filled out the ventricle. But let's do another step. And you saw the apex got bigger, right? So we're probably not completely finished the apex. Do another step. Oh, it grew a little bit down at the apex. So if we go here, we'll probably see a little, oh, it looks like it's pretty full.
Yeah, in my case also it's kind of full.
Okay, it doesn't really matter if you keep going because it just grows stuff out the top. Right, so now it's just gonna grow these things every time I hit go.
Mhm.
So it grew these little mushrooms. And then, so we're fine. So that's our 0th one. And then you just save that segmentation. And to do that, you go to segmentation up here, up on the top pull down menu. And, oh, sorry, before we save, we have to say finish.
Mhm.
Okay, so click on finish.
Okay.
Now we're back to this view. And now I can say segmentation, save segmentation. So click on that. And it puts it back in the correct path that your file came out of. And I usually name them SEG_00. So this is, when you look up at the top, it'll tell you which number you're on. And so this is 00 and just finish. And it saves it as 00. So we've got our first one done. We still have to cut off these things.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that yet. What we're going to do now is go back to our files and we'll grab file number 1,
Mhm.
drag it in. So this is the next time frame and load that as the main image.
Yeah. In the same view.
Yep, I just
Same
drag it in there.
window.
Yep,
Okay, I'll do that.
and it
I had them in different views, but it doesn't
I
matter.
think it ejects the previous data set and now we have a new data set.
Okay.
And normally I then take the segmentation that I just did and drag it also in there into the segmentation window and load it as segmentation.
Yeah.
So now I have a segmentation that is not for this view, right? It's for the previous view. It looks pretty good though.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things that are different.
Yeah.
And when we go over to do this, the rendering, so I click on my, this tab up here, the active contour.
Yeah.
And now I have to click this. It's initialized with current segmentation.
Okay.
And it will start from here.
Okay.
And then say segment 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I have to reset this to 170. And one-sided, go in here and reset this to 10. I think that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all done. Now I can say next. And I don't need to draw a bubble, right? Because this is my bubble.
Mm-hmm.
I just say next. Now I can take step sizes of 25 and we can look, go to this place, we'll see it move a little bit. So hit iteration, see it moved out a bit. And we'll probably be able to see it. These will continue to grow, but the ventricle won't change much. These will grow up each time I hit. Oh, the ventricle changed a little. So I always keep going until the ventricle stops changing.
Okay. Yeah, it make it stop. I just have some artifacts that I have to.
Right. Keep growing out the artifact.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Now, so we say finish. We go back to this view. And I've been thinking about this, and now what I'm going to do is, because this has grown a lot more, I'm just going to cut the top off. So you go to labels, clear label, and then you use this knife. You click on the knife, and I'm just going to cut that off there, except Oh, it cut my whole heart off. So I think I can say Control Z. It comes back. I cut the whole heart off.
Let me see how you did the knife. So
Yeah, so I think I need to zoom out so I can, there's the arrows up here. So it's going to cut everything towards the arrow.
okay.
So now I'm back to these guys, and I will also cut that off. Click. And now I'll save it.
How do you do the knife? Because I press knife. I
It's
don't know.
down here.
Yeah, I do press it, but now what do I have to do after pressing? Sorry.
Oh, here first, let's just do this.
Mhm.
I'm gonna save the new segmentation. It's gonna save it as our old segmentation name, so don't do that. Give it a new one, seg01, right? And we'll finish. And now we have two segmentations saved. Okay, so let's go back to here. When you're using the knife, you can change, you can make something into label 1, label 2, or you can clear. And this clear will clear all labels off. If you only want to clear the red label or the green label or whatever, you can also do that, but I'll just do all. And then you click on the knife, and then it should, when you do this, when you click left, drag, click left, it gives you this plane.
Okay, then in my case, the problem is moving when I do that in Windows.
Oh, what's moving? The plane?
It rotates. No, I don't see a plane. I cannot define.
Here, let's I don't know why it wouldn't be working.
Click, cancel, accept. I don't know. When I do it with my left mouse,
Yeah.
it rotates the heart.
Oh, okay. So click the knife. So the
Yeah.
knife's active, right?
Yes.
When you go in, click left once, just click once.
Okay.
Now drag the mouse.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I see.
If you hold it down, it will rotate.
Yeah, I was holding, I see.
Right. And then click left again, and it makes the plane.
Okay.
And now if you have your mouse away from the plane and you click left down, you can rotate everybody.
Yes, I rotate everything. Yeah.
Okay. If, on the other hand, you put your mouse on the plane like this, and then you click left down, it will make the plane green, and then it will drag it up and down, orthogonal to its normal.
Okay. Okay.
Right, so it can drag down and up. And then if you go to the arrow itself and hold left down, it will rotate.
Okay.
I find this very unuseful. I don't use it because it's very hard for me to figure out how it rotates. So I don't do that. If I really need to adjust the plane, I just draw it again. I hit cancel, right? And then just draw a new one.
Okay.
So now we have something that we can use.
I think I did what it happened to you before, although it's not.
You hit Control Z and it will undo.
Yeah, I see. Where did you put continuous updating? I see.
That's down here. Right?
Yeah, in the arrow. Perfect.
Yeah.
So to remove, I would have to draw the. So why did it remove the whole heart instead of only the upper part? How can I do the upper part?
Oh, well, the way that works is you draw a plane. The stuff that gets removed is the stuff that's on the arrow side.
Okay.
So if the arrow is going the wrong way, you hit cancel and you draw the opposite direction.
Okay.
And then it goes this way.
I see. Yeah.
So if I want to reverse my arrow, I just hit cancel and draw the other way. Like that.
Okay.
And I've tried to understand how that works, like a left-hand, right-hand rule or something. I can't. I just try one and then if it's wrong, I just I don't know why I can't figure out what the algorithm is, but anyway, I quit trying. So now we saved it as segment 01, right? And so now we can go to, let's save it again, just in case. And now we can go to 02. And where is it? Segment 2. Oh, it starts with a 2, right? So it's 2. I just drag that in there. Load as image. And I start again. And now I load my most recent segmentation, which was 01, as my beginning segmentation. Load as segmentation. Right? And it's going to grow more of these things and change the ventricle a little. So we go into the snake. We make sure this is set to initialize. That should be set to label 1, I think. Segmentation labels label 1, yeah. I don't want to segment and clear everything. It got segmented. So I'm segmenting everything to label 1. And we'll go segment to D. I think if I left this at clear, this would have all gone away. I would have cleared it. So then here we have 1.
Okay, so maybe I have to cancel because I didn't select the cancel. Okay, I go here, I select that. I go here, initialize. Okay, I see. Okay.
You become a robot, as you can see.
I see, I know.
You do this 20 times, right? So it's hard to maintain your concentration and do it all right. So then I've got this, I go in here and make sure my segment, the smoothness is set to 10, lower only set to 170. And then I hit next. I don't need a bubble, I can just hit next. And then I left this at 25. I'm going to zoom in, take a look at this while it's segmenting. And I'll hit iteration. Okay. So the ventricle did change there. Changed a little there. Just a little. There, it didn't change at all. So let's go to the other side. Hit another one. Didn't change. The only thing that's changing is this. So now I can hit finish. I'm back with this. And I'm going to cut this top off again. So to do that, we go back, we say we're going to clear a label. We're going to use the scalpel. I think you can hit 3D such that only 3D is on your screen. And I'll zoom it up a bit. Actually, no, because remember, we couldn't see the arrow. So let's go click, click, up. Have to flip. So the arrow's on this side.
Okay, good.
Accept, and I cut the top off, and then I'll click, click, up. My arrow's going the wrong way, so you can hit flip. Goes this way. Now accept, and I cut that. So now we have that.
The part of the arrow is what is removed, right?
Yeah, it's the one that's going to change. So then I'll save this as 2, because that was the second time frame. Yes. So you can see we get into a rhythm here. And I go back to here, back, find 3. This one. There's my image. I'm going to load the second segmentation. Load as segmentation. And we'll just go through it again.
You don't adjust the contrast when you load the image?
No, I don't do anything to it. Basically, I just run the segmentation based on this number. And that's the only thing I'm doing.
No, just in case it helps you a little bit to see
Oh,
better how
where'd my,
business doing stuff.
where'd my say? Oh, look what happened. I left this not as red, but as clear. And so there's nothing here. Clear.
Okay,
So I have
but you can cancel, right?
yeah, I have to go back. I think we cancel that segmentation is what we do. And then we change this to label 1. Right? Let's remember to switch that back when we're finished cutting off the tops.
Yeah.
Right? And then click segment 3B. Oh, it kept this, kept that. That's okay. Go to next. Go to next. I think it's a pretty good segmentation of the ventricle, right? I'm pretty happy with it. In terms of the surface and everything, the details. Looks
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, yeah.
I'll hit finish. And now we're gonna clear the label, go to the pen. This is just something I'm starting today. I usually don't do this, but I think it's a good idea.
Which one? Cutting those or?
Yeah, just cutting this off so it grows again, just so they don't grow into enormous things. If we don't cut them off each time, they're going to grow into huge things. Okay.
Okay.
And what is that? Oh, look at that thing. Ah, let's cut that off. Okay. Just cut that off. And there's a vessel there. See, that is a coronary or a lesion or something. It's snuck out into there. Dang. So this is where if you want to cut, like that's a hard thing to cut off, right? Because it's inside this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to like cut it off in 2 ways. How do you do this? You want to cut. Oh, I know what you do. You turn label 1 into label 2. Okay. Here. Oops. Paint over, oh, I'm sorry. Paint over label 1. Turn it, yeah. So the active label is I'm going to turn it into label 2, paint over label 1. I do that, right? So all of this goes green. Now I can come up here and I can go like this, flip it and say, now I want to paint. I want to turn this into clear. I only want to paint over label 2. And it'll just take the green stuff away, right? And so I've left this stuff there. And I've taken that thing out because all I did was take the green stuff away. And now I want to paint over all labels and just turn the whole thing back into red. I can't see the darn arrow though. So flip. I'll just turn it all back to red. Right. So that's how you, that's just a demo of how you cut away something inside a container. You have to first cut one direction into all that label and then cut that label off selectively.
Mm-hmm. Or you could do it in the planes, right?
You could paint, you could go in there and like erase it, which is what Gabby does. But I for some reason just like using this thing. Okay, so I think that this was, we look up at the top, so we have to move it. This is 3 NII, so we're gonna save this as 3, right? Okay, that's it. You just keep doing that, right? Now,
It's clear.
now what we're going to do is we're going to cut off these guys to isolate the ventricle. So the way I do that nowadays is I go back. Let's drag in segment 0.
Oh,
I'll load a segmentation. So here's my 0F1. Right? We need to cut the outflow track off, and we need to cut the LA off. I'll zoom up.
and you do that in which one? In the last one, or so you are already still in 3? In 3 with 3, okay?
Starting with 0 right now. So I reloaded. I went to the here and I reloaded 0 by dragging it in.
From the very beginning with each segmentation.
Well, now I have 4 segmentations, right? So I'm cutting short. Usually I would just generate the whole 20 and then go back and do this editing on all 20.
Yes, okay. And how do I move to the other segmentations?
I would drag.
Yeah, drag it again, okay.
Drag it in.
I mean, I was thinking maybe from.
You go like this. If I drag it in, it'll say load as image. No, don't do that. Load as segmentation. It does that. And now I've got 0 in here segmentation.
Yeah.
Now
And
the great, go ahead.
the image, you don't care about the image.
No, I don't give a damn what's in the image. The great thing about this is once I have this view set up, if I rotate this and then I drag another segmentation in and say, use it as segmentation, it does it in exactly the same orientation, which is useful for deciding how to cut this line. Because when I cut it, I want the planes to be parallel, you know, from one time frame to the next. So here, you know, if I choose, I'm trying to isolate this, forget about this for the time being. If I go through here and cut that, flip it, I'm gonna turn this label green. And I turn around and I say, okay, that seems to work for everybody. Maybe drag it down just a little, like that. So that's a pretty good view. So I'm gonna get back into the orientation where, see how I can see the plane. If I rotate it down, now when I draw a line, it will give me this plane in the next view. So let's accept that. And that basically gives me my left atrium is now green. Okay. Right, and so if I got that, and I'm just going to save that, that was 2, right? Yeah, so I'll save it as 2. And then if we go and then drag 3 in, when I draw a plane in this image, it's going to be parallel to the previous one. I'll just draw it there. Flip, accept, just save that. I'm not even gonna look because I can't. I'm gonna save that. And then now let's drag 0 in. We'll watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna draw a same parallel plane right here. Accept it. Save it. And then what else do I think I have to do? 1, right? Drag 1 in. And the reason I like doing it this way is because it's so much faster than hunting around and doing it interactively for each frame. So you can do everything in about 2 minutes. You'll do them all. And you'll create this line in all of them. Right? And so we did 4 of them in about a minute, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's hard for me though to kind of set the good orientation of the of the heart.
Oh, you know what? I would either pick this orientation where you're looking between.
No, the thing is, I cannot get it moved to that.
Why?
I don't know. Well, I guess it's a matter of rotating more and more. I don't know.
Well, if you need it, I mean, well, you know how this works. It tilts this way. And then if you need to tilt the other way, you tilt this way and then do the rotation, right?
Yeah.
The other way is to look at it this way, where you have this V. Gabby likes to look at the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way of doing it. But I think for this heart, this was a pretty good orientation because we got it each way.
Mm-hmm.
And so now let's do this. We'll load in segment 0, 0. So it's this one. You can then, this little camera, you can take a picture. I'm going to call that 0. And then we'll load in 0, 1. We'll take another picture. And that's going to be 1. And then we'll load in 0, 2. Take a picture. That's going to be 2. And then load in 0, 3. Take a picture. So now we can go in here and go through them in time, like 0, 1, 2, 3. And make sure that you like what you see. And it's a little distracting because the tops change.
Yeah.
But we can cut those off later. But I think it's pretty good for the valve plane. Right. So that's the way I do it. And
Okay, and in the data that I had for training, there were other kind of like a thicker region there of 2 colors, no?
Oh, you want, yeah, you still have to do the outflow track.
Yes, but
So
then
we'll do that one next. So let's, oops, it's not the right application. So we're gonna read 0 in again. Go to segmentation. Now we want to cut this thing off, right? And Gabby likes it to go from right where this groove is, start there and then cut down so that you cut the curvy part out. So about there. And this is sort of I want to say it's a skill. So we're going to call this 4, and we'll start here and we'll go to there. And we're going to call everything above there 4. And then we can rotate, oops, there's my mouse. Rotate around and make sure it looks symmetric. It looks pretty good. Right. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to do this the same way. I'm just going to save that as 0. And then drag 1 in. Do that as 1. Drag 2 in. 2. It turns out it's not that super duper important that these are perfect. I'll just say that. And then drag 3 in.
in my case, the truth is a little bit higher, but I guess I should go higher. But the trick is, as I'm seeing you doing it, is that you don't move anything. So you just set exactly the good point of view, and then,
You just do it over and over again, and basically they will be parallel planes because you haven't changed the orientation of the heart, and they'll be very regular. And so if I go around here, I can now see on the other side, did it do a good job? If that's 3, let's go back and see what 2 looks like. It's okay. Right. What 1 looks like. This is not the way Gabby was teaching people how to do it. This is just the way I figured out how to do it yesterday.
yeah, I see. Mhm.
Right. And I think this is much faster than the way you watch the videos on how to do this. The way people have been doing it is every frame they stop and do this process before they save the segmentation. I think it's better to do one type of segmentation back to back to back to back to back and go faster. I have Gabby and Ashish tell me that if you leave this, it'll slow the thing down a little bit because it does some processing on the whole volume. But I think I kind of like these things at the top. They give you a nice orientation of what's going on. The problem is that when you play a movie, the top of this thing bumps up and down because nobody cares where it is, right? So if you were to trim them all such that there was like a constant distance here, then that would get rid of that effect. But I think it's fine. Probably just leave it like this.
Mhm.
So
Okay, and if we need to cut the leads artifacts,
oh, that's a whole other story. Let's stop the recording.
okay.
Okay.